Welcome to Sports from the Couch
I gotta say, it's the stupidest thing in sports.
with your host, Mike Mercado.
Players cannot stand him. Coaches cannot stand him. Most importantly, the fans can't stand him.
Brought to you by Mercado Airways.
I'm gonna say it once, and hopefully I'm wrong, but it's a disaster waiting to happen.
That is so bad, that is absolutely brutal.
So the first weekend in the 2020 MLB season's in the books, friends, and it was an interesting one, both nationally and locally. We'll go ahead and go nationally first. I'll give you a rundown of the standings after the first pandemic weekend in Major League Baseball. The Baltimore Orioles at 2-1 with the Tampa Bay Rays and the New York Yankees. The Blue Jays and the Red Sox at 1-2. In the Central in the American League, your Cleveland Indians are 2-1. The Detroit Tigers are 2-1. The Minnesota Twins at 2-1. And the White Sox and Royals at 1-2. We'll get a little bit into the White Sox in just a second. And out west, the Astros in 2-1 with the Oakland A's. The Angels, the Mariners, and the Rangers at 1-2. Jumping over to the National League in the East, the Braves and the Marlins both at 2-1. The Nationals, Mets, and Phillies at 1-2. In the West, the Rockies and the Padres at 2-1. The Giants and the Dodgers at 2-2. And the Diamondbacks at 1-2. And in the Central, you have the St. Louis Cardinals and the Chicago Cubs at 2-1. We'll get to the Cubs in just a second. The Reds, the Pirates, and the Brewers all at 1-2. Some interesting stuff going on with the Reds with some recent COVID positive testing. See how that affects this series coming up for Chicago and Cincinnati. Pittsburgh having that ejection with the manager getting too close to the umpire. So some interesting times the first weekend of the season. First off, why don't we get into the White Sox? And I really want to get into the White Sox more for, it was a rough weekend, you know, losing 10-5 to open up the season, winning 10-3-2 with a really nice bounce back, and then dropping again 14-2. Giolito didn't look great. Eloy getting knocked around pretty bad, and he's a big dude. He should be playing DH. I mean, it is what it is. Luis Robert should be playing as much as possible. They shouldn't be tinkering with the lineup as much as Ricky has, at least these first three games. But, you know, I don't know why Grandal wasn't playing. Tim Anderson had some errors. It was really just a bad ball game, bad weekend for Chicago, other than Yoan Moncada on Saturday. But where I want to just lean in for the White Sox, this is a team that has a lot of talent. But it's a tough division. Minnesota was the best team in baseball last year, especially offensively speaking at the very least. And this White Sox team, while with all the potential, is nothing but potential right now. We need to see it in action. And it's one thing to be good on paper. It's another thing to see this on a day-by-day process, especially in a time where there isn't as much downtime. There isn't as much rest. You are going to have to go off muscle memory. And it's interesting where some people call muscle memory cruise control, and the teams that are able to get onto cruise control after getting some momentum, that might be a big thing into this White Sox and Cubs season. They're going to need their pitching staff to bounce back, though. You had Dallas Keuchel go 5 innings, who did get the win when he went on Saturday, but Giolito only going 3 innings. And then, you know, it was a disaster with Ronaldo Lopez. So, I mean, the rotation is going to need to bounce back. I think you should still have some confidence with Dallas Keuchel and with Lucas Giolito. It wasn't the best start for Giolito, but it was the same thing for him last year. And I think it was against the Twins, too, where he struggled. But if this team is going to do anything, it is going to be on that offense, and it's going to be on the top of that rotation. And I'm not sure how that plays out for this team because it is so unknown. But we'll keep an eye on the White Sox as they start a 3-game series in Cleveland. What do you guys think after the first weekend? Are you discouraged, encouraged, meh about the Chicago White Sox? Let me know personally on Twitter at Mike M Media. Tweet the show at Couch Sports Talk and on Instagram at Mike Mercado Media. Jumping to the north side really fast. The Cubs go 2-1 on the weekend against the Brewers. Kyle Hendricks, awesome performance on Friday, going the complete game. Tyler Chatwood, 6 innings in a nice game himself, 8 strikeouts. Really good stuff from Chatwood. And not so much for Yu Darvish, though. Got rocked around on Saturday on national television. Not the best start for Yu Darvish, especially with all the drama that was not being the opening day starter, what all the rumblings were coming out of the dugout. So we'll see if he bounces back. But this offense sure as heck showed up, and they scored 15 runs on the 3 days, a lot of them coming on Sunday. So we're going to see if this is a outlier, if this is actually what it is. I like what I saw from Nico Hoerner. Anthony Rizzo not only trimmed down, but there was a lot of talk about his bad back, especially since he missed some time during the restart of the season. But sure enough, he looks to be healthy. Ian Happ is refusing to go back to Iowa. The man is raking along with Wilson Contreras. Congratulations to the Contreras family. The other brother is now playing in Atlanta. Kyle Schwarber has been playing pretty well. This is a deep team. The only question about the Chicago Cubs right now is Kris Bryant at leadoff. He's gone, I think, 1 for 14. But he's taken a lot of pitches. And I think the problem with Kris Bryant, there's a big microscope that is shining a light on everything that Kris Bryant does on the plate. And it's strictly because people are getting paid. Mookie Betts got paid. Mike Trout got paid. Bryce Harper got paid. Manny Machado got paid. People want to see who's the next one to get that big payday. To a lot of people, it's Kris Bryant. But what's funny is when you even hear the national broadcast talking about all the great young players in the league, nobody talks about Kris Bryant like that anymore. This is a former MVP. And maybe it's because he downplays it so much. And there's a lot of guys like that on the Cubs. For as many flamboyant and awesome characters this Cubs team has, there's a lot of guys who aren't that. And I wonder if that's why the league kind of just looks over Kris Bryant. And it doesn't help that he hasn't hit a big hit yet. He hasn't had that glorious home run yet, but it's coming. I actually think it's probably coming tonight against Cincinnati, especially in that ballpark. But Victor Caratini playing a lot of DH. I like that. I like Nico Hoerner. I like Jason Kipnis. So what happens moving forward is, what's your belief with this team? At least after the first weekend. It's a good division. The Cardinals aren't going anywhere. Milwaukee will bounce back. I believe it just becomes who's more comfortable doing this 60-game thing. Who can handle the pressure? Who can handle losing 2 or 3 games in a row? Who could bounce back and then roll off a couple victories? If healthy, and if this team finds a way to keep that bullpen from imploding, they can win as many games as anybody in the league and win the whole damn thing. I mean, we talk about the difference between the White Sox and the Cubs. This is it. It's about potential. The White Sox have so much great potential. It's as if you're playing a sports game like Madden or NBA 2K or The Show, and they have that rating of potential. It's like they have a potential, and they have a lot of guys at 70 rating, and some guys even at the 80s. And maybe the rare, like, superstar on the team, right? Just that one rare guy who's actually up there. But it's all about, like, oh, the next simulated season, there'll be even a better rating. We'll be a better team. The Cubs are that team that actually came to fruition, won the World Series, and they've had the ups and downs. This is one of those moments where it could go completely, it could spiral all the way down. And this team could lose a bunch, and it could be the complete end of this team. But you got to give it credit for David Ross letting Kyle Hendricks go the entire game, kind of pushing the right buttons. This team seems to be, at the very least, concentrated and there in the moment. And they have a 4-game series against the Cincinnati Reds, who are struggling with this COVID testing thing. We'll see Lester finally get the ball. We'll see Alec Mills. We'll see Kyle Hendricks again, and we'll see Yu Darvish. So we'll see how that plays out for the Cubs in Cincinnati before they come back to play the Pirates at Wrigley. First road series for both Chicago teams. This is where now the COVID part of the world comes in. We got to have a little distraction and talk about something else, talk about the sport itself. But now we have the teams traveling. Cincinnati had a positive test. What does this mean? What are the protocols? Are any of the players worried? How does that diminish somebody's at-bat or their pitching performance? We're going to learn all this as we move forward. But all in all, a pretty decent weekend for the Chicago Cubs. And with that in mind, the 2020 MLB season is underway. Let me know, what did you think of the first weekend of Major League Baseball back on your television? I'm on Twitter at Mike M Media. The show is on Twitter at Couch Sports Talk. And you can find me on Instagram at Mike Mercado Media. Lots of interesting news stories from the sports world. Let's get to the quick notes. We start off in the NBA. Lou Williams of the LA Clippers has to be in 10-day quarantine after being investigated by the league for a picture posted by rapper Jack Harlow of him coming out of a strip club in Atlanta. That's right, according to ESPN. In the photograph, Williams is holding a drink and wearing an NBA mask given out on the Orlando campus. And this is after the rapper Jack Harlow posted, "That was an old pic of me and Lou. I was just reminiscing because I miss him." After some investigation, and found out that that's where he was. He went to grab a meal. According to Lou Williams, there were no entertainers in the establishment, but apparently there was some fire wings to break quarantine, or to the very least risk quarantine. But if you aren't about that life and you don't know about that life, it is a thing. So shout out to Lou Williams and the NBA and rapper Jack Harlow. Oh, the New York Knicks got a new coach, and it's a Chicago favorite guy.
They gotta feel us. They gotta feel us. They gotta get into him. Let's go.
That's right, Tom Thibodeau, former Chicago Bulls head coach, along with the Minnesota Timberwolves, has signed a 5-year deal with the New York Knicks. And, all kidding aside, all stay up, and the screaming and the brain aneurysms, Tibbs is a hell of a coach. And what we've known now as Chicago Bulls fans covering the team is the turmoil that was that front office, what the power struggle in that front office led to it being kind of broken apart. But he's a hell of a coach. He knows how to get teams to play defense, and he develops talent. So it should be interesting to see how that works for the New York Knicks. And let's just hope he has better luck than Mike D'Antoni and Mike Woodson and Derek Fisher and Jeff Hornacek and David Fizdale and probably Tom Thibodeau. In one of the craziest comebacks of all time, movie star, marijuana entrepreneur, and comedian, and also boxing legend Mike Tyson returns to the ring as he is going to fight Roy Jones Jr. in an 8-round exhibition match on September 12th at Dignity Health Sports Park in Carson, California. Oh boy, this is going to be an interesting one. We have the former heavyweight champion versus the former 4-division world champion, Roy Jones Jr., Mike Tyson. We're going to need some of that Tyson weed to get past this match. Maybe ends up being the best real-life Rocky movie of all time. But shout out to Iron Mike Tyson. And yeah, I'm definitely going to pay to watch whatever the hell this is. There was a big trade in the NFL. Jamal Adams was traded from the Jets to the Seattle Seahawks. But that did not mean that the drama had ended, as Le'Veon Bell, the running back for the Jets, had some words to say. This is on Twitter. Quote, "People do all the hoot and hollering to get you brought in just to leave, LOL. Like, people weird, yo. The internet got these dudes doing whatever for attention, even when they tell you stuff they don't believe themselves." Then Jamal Adams quote tweeted him saying, "Noted, see you week 14, which Le'Veon Bell responded with, quote, "Noted, what? LOL, that you lied? Please trust that it is noted." Then, "And if I'm supposed to take see you in week 14 as a threat, I don't. But it's still all love, and like I told you on the phone, I want the best for you. If this is the best for you, I want it for you, bro." And then he had the praying hands going up. So interesting stuff in the NFL, and there's nothing better than seeing grown men, especially 2 grown men who beat the hell out of people for a living, beef over social media. Speaking of earth-shattering trades, Ryan Pace found somebody to buy a bridge. Adam Shaheen, as the Bears announced a trade of tight end Adam Shaheen to the Dolphins for a 7th-round pick, which could improve to a 6th round with unknown factors. So here's the thing, right? It was a really high draft pick that Adam Shaheen was, and they have to make this move. To be honest with you, I'm just astonished that they got anything for Adam Shaheen, let alone something like draft picks, which, knowing Ryan Pace and the Chicago Bears, they'll just repackage and trade away for something else like another Nick Foles. But at the very least, we now know that the Chicago Bears went from 19 tight ends to 18. And those were your quick notes from the sports world here on Sports from the Couch, brought to you by Mercado Airwaves. And that'll do it for us here on this episode of Sports from the Couch on Mercado Airwaves. I'm your host, Mike Mercado. I want to thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Make sure you guys follow us all over the universe as we get ready for the NBA restart. Teams are reporting in the NFL. The NHL playoffs are back up and running. And of course, the roller coaster ride that will be the road to the World Series. All that and much more by following us all over social media. You can follow me on Twitter at Mike M Media and the show's Twitter at Couch Sports Talk. I'm also on Instagram at Mike Mercado Media. Please like, rate, review, and share us wherever you get your favorite podcast at Mercado Airwaves, and support all the other shows brought to you by the network. Become a producer of this very show or some of the other shows on the network by visiting us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. There you can also hear our interviews ad-free before anybody else with athletes and celebrities. That's patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. And you can support the network by showing off some of our swag. See what you can wear and show up at the gym, at the party, at work, even drink a nice coffee mug with the Mercado Airwaves logo. That's at teespring.com/Mercado Airwaves. Thank you all so much for joining us. Enjoy all the games. We will see you next time here on Sports from the Couch on Mercado Airwaves. I'm your host, Mike Mercado.
Hey guys, Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. We want to thank you so much for all the support you've given us here on the network. And if you want to see what we're up to outside of the station, please follow us all over social media. I'm on Twitter at Mike M Media and on Instagram at Mike Mercado Media. You can follow the good brother Alex Mercado on Twitter at Mercado21Alex and on Instagram at Mercado2121. The lovely Nicole Mancha is on all social media platforms at Typing When Tipsy. You can follow the network on Twitter at Mercado Airwaves. Our pop culture show, The Good Brothers, on Twitter at Good Brothers Pod. Our true crime shows on Instagram at Murder, Mysteries, and More. And of course, like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. You can see all our videos on YouTube.com/Mike Mercado 2333 or by searching Mercado Airwaves Network. We play video games on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves Network. And of course, you can support our network by finding a tier just for you, whether you want early access, you want to be part of polls, you want to win contest prizes, by visiting us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. And we really appreciate it wherever you get your favorite podcast to like, rate, review, and share us. And please spread the word. For the good brother, Alex Mercado, for the lovely Nicole Mancha, I'm Mike Mercado. Thank you so much for all the support you've given us here on the network.